Welcome to Tiny Expeditions Season 7, Episode 2. This season is all about your favorite subterranean superhero, the peanut. My name is Chris Powell. I'm your co-host for this season.
And I'm Dr. Sarah Sharman, here to help you understand the science.
Dr. Sharman, we had a great episode to begin this season. And if you haven't listened to that or watched that, go back and check it out. It'll be a great foundation for where we're going in this episode. But that was primarily talking about the educational component of what we're calling the Wiregrass Peanut Project.
We were able to spend time with 2 teachers and a student who have been involved in that project, but it's much more than an educational program or STEM workforce development. This project actually has wide-reaching downstream effects, so these students are helping to develop a Wiregrass-specific peanut. What does that mean? That means they're developing a peanut that has been tailored to thrive in the conditions of the Wiregrass region. So drought conditions, the soil conditions, the pests that exist in the area. And really, it's just going to help farmers across the area.
Yep, this is real-world research that is happening inside of the schools in the Wiregrass. And again, we invite you to go listen to that episode because the process is fascinating, from the high-quality extraction of DNA happening in schools to that being sequenced through HudsonAlpha and then the results being returned. Fascinating process. But let's talk about what happens when that variety of peanut is found for the Wiregrass. I mean, that's going to have massive economic impact, not just for the farmers, but for the whole region.
Spending time in Dothan really helped Chris and I appreciate the impact that peanut is going to have. I mean, everyone from farmers to shellers to packagers, it's really just going to be amazing.
It is, and in order to kind of paint the full picture of the impact, we are bringing you 3 interviews that we shot while we were down in Dothan. One of those interviews is going to be with the mayor of Dothan. We're also going to be talking with Micah Johnson, who is the Houston County Extension Director. But let's begin with Libby Johnson. Libby is the Executive Director of the Alabama Peanut Producers Association. She has a very fascinating angle on this, looking at the economic impact from the perspective of the farmers.
So my name is Libby Johnson, and I get to serve as the Executive Director of the Alabama Peanut Producers Association here in Dothan, but I get to serve the entire state of Alabama and all the peanut farmers. And that is a really big project, but it's so much fun. Technically, every farmer in Alabama that grows peanuts pays a checkoff. And that little bit of money that comes from each ton of their peanuts supports the Alabama Peanut Producers Association. So that money is used to fund research. It's used to fund us going to other parts of Alabama and really throughout the country to promote peanut consumption, to promote peanut usage in other products, and also for us to discuss our issues with legislators in D.C.
So one of your roles is to oversee projects that are related to research, promotion, and education. We looked that up on the website, right? So that is true, right?
That's part of your role? True.
Excellent. Well, in that role, can you tell us a little more specifically about the role of research in peanuts, and why is that important?
So I'm thankful that you asked about that, because for our board, for Alabama Peanut Producers, that is one of their biggest interests. We have 15 individuals that serve on our board, and they always look forward to hearing what kind of research monies we have going to various projects throughout Alabama and actually throughout the Southeast. The reason it's important, and if you talk to some of the growers about this, they've been growing peanuts for 40, 50 years, and they have seen a great increase in peanut acreage, peanut varieties, leading to better quality, ways to improve their peanut production to make it more environmentally friendly and economically friendly to the farmers. So I would say that research and the practical uses it gets on farms is a big deal for our growers. And that's what they're really interested in, because they really do want to be the most sustainable farmers they can be, environmentally and financially for themselves.
So just for perspective, you said there more varieties are available now along with more acreage. And speaking of the varieties in particular, let's say 10 years ago compared to now, what's the difference in the varieties? Or maybe we go back 20 years if we need to, but what's the difference in the varieties that are available? Is it a ton more, or are we talking 2 or 3 more?
So 06G means that Georgia released it in 2006, and it's 2020 5.
Right.
So that's a long-lived peanut variety, and that's unusual. Usually peanut varieties, most varieties of any crop don't last forever in 20 days, but this one has been out there for a long time and still a successful variety. So I guess that's the unusual thing to say about that. But then there's been a lot of peanut varieties that have been released in the last 10, 15 years that have led to nematode resistance. There's been varieties that have been better adapted to leaf spot, to not developing leaf spot. There's been varieties that have been more water conscious, that's not using as much water in the peanut production. So all of that's important to growers. It would just be great and that we can always dream. Like farmers will always dream, and people in agriculture will always dream for that one perfect variety.
So you've talked at length about what this will do for farmers. What would the perfect peanut do for the economy? How important is peanut for economies of places like the Wiregrass in Georgia that grow a lot of peanuts?
If you could have one peanut variety that would use less moisture and have less disease incidence for the farmer, that would lead to reduced grower costs for him. And he would probably make more money over the given year. And farmers invest in local economies. There's lots of research that you see where farming has died in communities, how the overall community system has failed, because they really contribute a lot locally to grocery stores, to businesses, to all sorts of things that their families consume. So I think a peanut variety that would incur less cost for a grower could just be a positive for a local economy.
A key player who is helping ensure that the farming community thrives is the Extension Office, and these Extension offices are found in each county in the state of Alabama. We wanted to find out exactly what happens in these Extension offices and their connection to research and the growth of farming communities. So we sat down with Micah Johnson, who is the director of the Houston County Extension Office.
Well, I'm Micah Johnson. I'm the County Extension Director for the Alabama Cooperative Extension System. I'm the Houston County Director. The Alabama Cooperative Extension System is a statewide system run by the land-grant universities, Auburn and Alabama A&M. Every state has an extension system, and our overall mission started over 100 years ago. Our system is over 100 years old, and back in early 1900s, the government realized that there was a need for university-level information to reach the communities, to people who didn't have the opportunity to go to college. So they used the land-grant universities and put an extension office. We are an extension of those universities. So every county has an office that's an extension of Auburn University, and if there's a large urban presence in the county, there's the urban part from Alabama A&M that provides programs also. So an extension office, to answer your original question, we're an extension of Auburn University and Alabama A&M to deliver university information to local community members.
So what are some of the current areas of research or interest for you down here in Houston County with your extension office?
For the Houston County office, we're kind of a mixed bag. Obviously, agriculture is huge here. We're the largest farming county in the Wiregrass in the southeast Alabama. Research in this area right now, agriculturally speaking, variety trials are always up in the air. We are looking at OVT's official variety trials on the research station, seeing which varieties do better. We have some agents who get to do some on-farm trials, testing different varieties. So variety testing is always on our minds. Not just what type of seed or what variety of seed, but also how can we do better with those seeds. So there's some biologicals we're researching right now as far as does it help the seed produce better? Does it help the overall yield? There's also some wildlife research, wildlife control, because there's some wildlife damage in a lot of our crops. So it's not always just what grows the best, but how can we encourage that growth? What can we use to help it grow? What are some preventive measures for disease to wildlife to preserve growth in our crops? So those kind of are always go-tos on different research in this area.
We asked the question of another one of our guests of how do farmers choose the various varieties? And she said, they go to you. So in talking with you, what's your process? What tools, what specific areas of research do you lean on in order to test out certain varieties? What are you looking for? What does that process look like?
We're data driven. We look at the trials at the research station in Headland, and that's kind of another area where we're seeing together, but we're technically kind of separate. The research station does all their research for this area at the research station. We look at the data they produce. If you go to the variety trial website that Henry Jordan puts on, we look at data from there, and you have access to it. It's open to the public. It's just sometimes hard to navigate all that data, and so we look at that. That's what we go to first, and we kind of compare that to on-farm trials, because if you're doing a variety trial on a research station, you're talking about a very small plot compared to maybe 600 acres. Does it translate to the same yield? And often it does a lot of times. So if we see it doing well on the research station and doing well on farms, you got something pretty good. There may be a different variety that does better in certain situations. So it starts with our knowledge of the data that the trials give us, and then a dialogue with the producer, because you may have different soils, you might have different areas where the environment's a little different, so you may have different varieties that do better in different soils. So there's a dialogue between the growers, and there's just the data knowledge we have from the research side.
One person who fully understands the economic impact of a project like this is the mayor of Dothan, Mark Saliba. He is an advocate for growing innovation in Dothan, not just in peanuts, but across the ag tech field. We sat down with him to get his thoughts.
Mark Saliba, mayor of the city of Dothan. I was born and raised here, just turned 65, and have been mostly in residential construction all of my life. I'm a second-generation home builder. And so I think it prepared me a lot for municipal government and service here. So love my city, love my Wiregrass area, and glad to continue to serve it.
So Dothan's a big ag city, as you just alluded to, but a lot of what we hear about is peanuts. I passed peanut statues coming here today. Can you tell us a bit about how important the peanut is to this area?
Well, it is extremely important. It's such a big picture of the agriculture economy that we have here. We claim to be the peanut capital. And in our area, we are. If you looked at the highest peanut producers just in the state of Alabama, 5 counties made that top 5 list. 3 of those 5 are in the Wiregrass area. So a large majority of the peanuts that are produced in Alabama and the United States are produced within about 60 miles of here. So it's a big part of who we are and what we do, along with a lot of other agriculture, cotton, forestry, timber. But the peanut took over, way back when cotton kind of waned out. And of course, we love our connection with Dr. Carver, who, of course, invented all of the uses of the peanut and opened up our first National Peanut Festival here. Wow. So he was our keynote speaker on the very first one, decades ago. Wow. So it's an awesome part of our history as well. So yes, it's a big part of who we are.
You mentioned, along with peanut and ag in the area, the technology that goes alongside of that. And I know that as mayor, you've had a big push for innovation and technology and entrepreneurship. And now we have the HudsonAlpha Wiregrass. So how does that fit into that vision for increased technology in the area and in increased innovation?
Well, one of the things that really caught my eye about the possibilities when we met with HudsonAlpha Institute for Biotechnology some time back was the fact that we do have generations of farmers, and we have generations of people that are in the farming community. And we really have not had the ability to, take part in the ag tech and innovative part of what's coming. So for me, it's not like we're having to create something from scratch. We have it here. Our backyard is an experimental station when you have as many peanut fields as we have. And so what is it that we can offer these families that have been in generations of farming more than just the farming part of it. And science and innovation and technology is that next thing. It's in everything that I think ag will be about in the coming future. And so having that as a big part of our economy is job opportunity. It's opening the possibilities to those that have, think, well, I don't know that I want to, nothing to driving a tractor. I don't know that I want to drive a tractor. I don't know if I want to be in the hot. Well, you don't have to be. You can still be a part of the agricultural community. You can still be a part of giving back to that brought your family to where they are by being in science part of it, or being in how to fly a drone over a field and look at the nitrogen content. I mean, there's just so many opportunities that are there that's what really excites me.
So HudsonAlpha Wiregrass is obviously pretty new. Jazz and I just walked over and saw the nice building y'all are building that we're going to be housed in. But a lot of what's been going on down here so far has been sort of the educational component, where I think over 500 students have participated so far. How important is it from an economic and workforce development standpoint to get these local students involved in this type of science and this kind of learning early?
Well, again, and I love everything about what Hudson Alpha does in Huntsville, and so the three buckets or three missions that they have with research and development, with work and turning those ideas into jobs. You got to have the pipeline. And so, again, the opportunity for youth to be able to see that even if their family is not in agriculture, but if they have an interest in science, that we are going to be able to provide them those opportunities right here. And so when they're in a classroom and they're getting to punch the peanut plant leaf and learn how to, which is college level stuff, I'm told. I would have not been in that world, but that they're learning how to extract that DNA and be a part of a process that then involves real world results, and then they can bring that into the classroom and say, hey, they can go home and talk about, hey, this was really interesting, this ability to have our science and think about bioscience in the plant world as well. So, we think that's big on building for our future, for our children and grandchildren, of which I have 5 grandchildren, by the way.
Oh, wow.
And so, for me, if you talk about things that you leave behind for others, when people talk about legacies, it's never about yourself. It's about what you do for others, and that legacy that we can leave are those opportunities for our young people that are out there. So I love exposing them to that real world science that we're being able to do.
I'm not going to say if, I'm going to say when this project leads to the creation of a new peanut that is, tailored for this area, developed with local science and students. What does that mean to you, both as the mayor of the community, but as someone who's lived here basically your whole life?
I think that it will have at least a stamp of approval and verification that we have arrived, that we have done something that you can hang your hat on. And I think it will be big for us, and will really be just the foot in the door to throw the door wide open then, and see what other opportunities there are out there for us. I think that can be the one piece that really lets the world know that we're not here to take away from anybody else or anything else. We're here to contribute and add to. And if we can help solve those real world problems that y'all talk about at Hudson Alpha a lot, how can we do that and be a part of that? That's what we want to do here. So, getting a peanut variety that is able to be more drought resistant and pesticide, less pesticides and fertilizers, and can grow when we don't have the water that they may need, and it works in our area very well. We feel like that will be a big part of our success, our goal of success. But I also think I think it will send a message to other thought provokers and providers of intelligence out there, and the keepers of the knowledge, that we're not to come to take away. We're here to add. We want to be a part of that world and giving back. So for me, I think it will be just one of those pieces along the road to success.
Aside from the hopefully finding this peanut variety, right? What are the rest of your hopes for, let's say, 5 years down the road with having the HudsonAlpha Wiregrass here? What do you want to see happen in the Wiregrass because of this initiative?
Well, first and foremost, it would be to almost have the whole 45,000 square foot building filled up with entrepreneurs and innovators, thought provokers, and scientists that are doing work there. I think that would be one of the big pieces of that. Secondly, I would love to see the flow of young children and youth, going through the building and attending seminars and doing the strawberry extraction and other projects that we may be doing there, exposing all of our children throughout the area to science and what that looks like. Educating our adult community and helping them understand not only what this can do for them, but when you get into the health science, and HudsonAlpha is starting the project on dementia and Alzheimer's, and how does that play a role in going forward in the future. I think that those are the kinds of markers that we want to see, and I want to see, that it builds a community here. One of our big pushes here for revitalization in the downtown area is to provide, is to get foot traffic here, is to provide things for people to come and see and do, and so as the more people that are in that building and other companies that may be coming in and a part of that, the more it gives us opportunities for retail and restaurants, and just that what everybody's always looking for is the things to do, after they're off of work. It doesn't matter what age you are, from the teenager to the senior citizen, they're always looking for things to do. And so I think that will be a part of that success for us here at HudsonAlpha Wiregrass in that building. And I see that building as a symbol of what the future can look like for us, future opportunities, and a future vision for the Wiregrass.
As a quick look behind the scenes on how we produce the podcast, the interview with the mayor happened a while ago. And when we interviewed him, the Wiregrass Innovation Center was in the process of being built. Well, that's no longer the case. It is now finished. As a matter of fact, we recently attended the ribbon cutting ceremony and the grand opening of the Wiregrass Innovation Center. It's a beautiful building, all 45,000 square foot, and it is just amazing to walk in those doors and to think about the research that is going to happen and the innovation that is going to happen in the Wiregrass because of the vision to make that happen.
To wrap up this episode on the economic impact of the Wiregrass Peanut Project, let's have a recap. TLDR time.
That's right. And so, a spoiler alert, I think we've kind of discussed, and I think the same thing really stuck out to both of us, and that's the idea of connectedness.
Yeah, and for me, as someone who didn't grow up in kind of an ag-heavy community, what stood out to me was really the vast support networks that exist, not just for farmers, but for others who are involved in the peanut industry. So just the resources, the education, the help that exists just really shocked and surprised me in the best way possible.
Yeah, and especially like with the extension system, like I knew that it was there. I didn't really know what it did, and it was fascinating to hear that, and just the wealth of information and the value that is there for the farming community. And I think it also just undergirds the idea that, science never happens in a vacuum, and we often hear of papers being presented, but often attached with those papers is a whole community of people who are working, and in this case, there's education involved. The rabbit hole keeps going deeper and deeper the more we get into it. And good news for you, we have several episodes left in this season, and this rabbit hole is going to go even deeper from there.
Thanks for joining us for this dive into the economic impact of the Wiregrass Peanut Project.
Make sure you join us for the next episode, where we'll take a trip into the lab to learn about the genetics of the peanut and how our scientists are helping to develop varieties that thrive in the wiregrass and beyond.
Tiny Expeditions is a podcast about genetics, DNA, and inheritance from the HudsonAlpha Institute for Biotechnology. We're a nonprofit research institute in Huntsville, Alabama, with a unique mission.
We bring together scientists and companies to develop and to apply genomic advances to make a better world. And that's everything from brain research to agriculture for a changing climate.
If you enjoyed this episode, please swing by your favorite podcast app and hit that subscribe button. While you're there, consider leaving us a review. It really helps us spread the knowledge.
Thanks for joining us.